Welcome back to Confident Real Estate. I'm your host, JC. In this video today, we're going to cover a very important topic about how to get you paid, how to find phenomenal tenants that are going to pay you and not give you headaches every single month. Whether you're brand new to real estate investing or you're a seasoned investor with some properties under your belt, we're going to cover some things in this video that you may not have previously thought of, that at the end of the video, you're going to think to yourself, gee, that was pretty obvious. Why didn't I think of that? That's okay. That comes from experience and from all of us here on YouTube and in other investment groups sharing our experience and information with each other. So today, I'm going to share what I usually do with you. Before I do, make sure you smash that like button for me. And obviously, if you're still not yet part of our Confident Real Estate family, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. Typically, the first question is, do I want to use a broker or do I want to list and rent the unit myself? Well, there's some pros and cons to both. The pros to using a broker is that they put it on the MLS listing site and they get it out there and they do all the legwork for you. They're the ones that are going to show the unit. They're the ones that are going to meet the tenants and schedule the tenants and do all the legwork. But the con is that your tenants are going to have to pay a broker fee. Not every tenant wants to pay a broker fee in order to get an apartment, but it basically comes down to where you're renting and the type of apartment that you're renting and how high class, class A, luxury is it. If it's a working class community, then people may not be willing to pay the broker's fee and you're limiting the amount of people who are actually going to come see your listing. But again, it's saving you a lot of legwork and heartache. If you don't use a broker and you do it yourself, the pros are you're going to meet the people. You're going to get an idea of who your potential next tenant is going to be. You're going to get that gut reaction from meeting them, talking to them, hearing their story, and getting a sense of who they are. Are they the kind of personality that's going to drive you crazy, calling you about every little thing? Or are they somebody who's just looking for a nice place to live that they're going to keep clean and respect and not destroy your property on you during the term of their lease? That's the benefit to seeing them yourself, but again, you have to do all the legwork. Where am I right now? I'm in a unit that I'm renting because I'm doing it myself, because this is a unit that is a big unit and it's a little bit of a higher rent in this particular area where I'm renting it, so I want to see the tenants and get a feel for them myself. To broker or not to broker? That is the question. The next consideration you need to make is to determine what you're renting and where you're renting. If you're renting a luxury $2 million apartment in Midtown Manhattan, then you're going to be marketing to a certain segment of people that can afford that. If you're renting a apartment that's a pretty good unit in a working class neighborhood, that's going to be a totally different segment of society that you're going to market that unit to. So you can't just market every property to the same group of people. You're going to be there a long time. And that again comes into where you negotiate with yourself whether or not you want to have your tenants paying a broker fee, or if you're going to split the broker fee or even cover the broker fee for your tenants, because you got a broker who knows where to go to locate the kind of tenant that you want. But if you're doing it yourself and you're trying to eliminate that broker fee and expand the pool of tenants that you're going to have, well, luxury apartment tenants are probably going to be more willing to pay a broker fee. People who are buying in a blue-collar working class area, they're not going to be as willing to pay a broker fee. So be aware of that. Understand what you're renting, where you're renting, and that'll give you a better idea of how you should go about presenting it and listing it to find the ideal tenant that's going to be perfect for you and your property. We've all heard of major online brokerages like Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, Apartments.com. Who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? The point is, you got to understand and know where you're renting and the type of unit you're renting. If you're renting in a small, rural, or local community in a tertiary market, a suburban market, then people may get their listings and information about what's available to rent and buy by word of mouth or some other local resource. If you're renting in a secondary market just outside a major city or in a major city, then you're going to want to expand your search. And the truth of the matter is that those online brokerages advertise a lot. And because of that, a lot of people use them. So they are a phenomenal resource. And you individually, by yourself, without a broker, can list on those sites. Zillow, for instance, owns not only Zillow, but Trulia and hotpads.com. You can sign up to list with Zillow and your first listing will be free. And it will advertise your listing on all those sites and give you a central place on your Zillow management sign-in to actually see everybody who responds. And you will get a better version of client and tenant because people who use that site understand that they're looking for a good apartment, and they're usually people with better credit who are making a better income and better able to pay and become a great tenant for you. Apartments.com, same thing. If you're brand new and it's your first listing, it's free to use, just like Zillow. Even if it's not your first listing and you've used it before, then you are well aware that it's not going to cost you a fortune. It'll cost you a few $100s. And if it's cost you a few $100s to get a quality tenant who's paying you, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 a month over a 12-month term, who's not going to give you a ton of headaches, has good credit, has good income, is a few $100 worth it to procure that tenant? Absolutely. Now, that's not to say that Craigslist and other places are bad. They can be a phenomenal resource as well, but you got to know how to use them. So let's touch on that. You may have heard that Craigslist is a great place to list an apartment, and it's not a terrible place, but again, you have to be aware of what you're actually renting. If you're renting a luxury large apartment with top dollar rent, you're not going to find a tenant for that apartment on Craigslist because that type of tenant isn't going to be looking on Craigslist for that type of luxury apartment. If you're renting a studio to a Gen Zer or a millennial, they're probably going to be more likely to use Craigslist than a top brokerage website, right? So you just have to be aware of what you're renting. But another phenomenal resource is Facebook Marketplace. And it is underrated when it comes to listing your rentals. If you're in a working class area, a secondary, tertiary market, Facebook Marketplace, people who live in that area and shop in that area and want to be in that area, work in that area, they go on Facebook Marketplace to buy everything. They buy used cars, they buy used appliances. They buy a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace because there are people who are looking to save $1. They understand the importance of $1. They are not going out spending $20,000 a month on a penthouse apartment rental. They're the type of people who want to squeeze their family into a nice, clean space. Might be a little tight, but they're working on a budget. Those are the people that go on Craigslist to buy other things, not just apartments, and to go and on Facebook Marketplace to buy other things and not just looking for rental apartments to live in. So those could be phenomenal resources for you. And Facebook, it's really, honestly, I've had tremendous success using Facebook Marketplace for rentals that are in working class neighborhoods because a lot of people are on there. You pay maybe $30 to boost your ad on a Facebook Marketplace listing, and you will get the phone book of people calling you and reaching out to you in order to see your listing. Now, there comes the point where you have to weed through the people that come through looking to see the apartment to see what's worth your time, because you don't want to spend your time showing the apartment to everyone because not everyone is qualified, and you need to understand that and weed through the herd off the bat. You got to be a little bit thick-skinned for this part, but it will save you a ton of time, a ton of headaches, and avoid you stepping on a landmine of a horrible tenant. Okay? So now we're going to get into exactly how you do that. So now it's the point where you need to do your credit checks. You can't trust the tenant to tell you that they're qualified. When you have people reach out to you who want to rent your unit, the first thing you're going to say to them is, give me your approximate credit score and give me the approximate gross income of you and any other applicants who are going to be on the lease. I need to know your credit scores and I need to know your gross income. Right there, you're going to cut out a ton of wasted time on tenants who will never qualify for the apartment, because you want to make sure that they have credit scores that you're happy with. Personally, I need at least 650. If it's below 650, I really can't consider it. And the income needs to be at least 3 times the rent. So if my monthly rent is $2,400, like it is for this unit, then I expect that my tenant is going to make at least $7,200 gross a month. And it doesn't have to be just one person. It could be a husband and wife combined that makes $7,200 a month. That will qualify them as long as they both have credit scores above 650. But that works for the area that I'm in. So just make sure that it works for the area you're in. But I would never recommend taking someone with credit scores less than 650. And you always want to make sure that they have a buffer and they're really not exceeding 1/3 of their gross income on their living expense, because if things get tight elsewhere, you may be the one that they stop paying. So right off the bat, you eliminate that and you let everybody know that you're going to do a credit and background check and that you're going to need proof of income. Then you show those people that qualify initially, you show them the unit, and then you have the people who want to move forward to rent the place do an application. And you can get 20 people to do the application and you select the one that works best for you. Again, you want to make sure that you're protected. So have everybody fill out an application, and I prefer to use a company that's not paying me for any kind of sponsorship on this video, although they should be. But I use National Tenant Network. But there are plenty of places out there that you can use that specialize in doing background checks for property managers and landlords to make sure that you're renting to the best quality tenant. But I use National Tenant Network, ntnonline.com, and they give me a great tool because I can send a link to my potential applicants. They can click that link, they can pay the application fee online. So my potential tenants, they click the link, they pay the fee, they fill out the information, the report is printed, and it is emailed to me. And I get to choose the best possible tenant from those that wanted the unit. And I can sleep better at night knowing I've done my due diligence. I've done a background check, a credit check, and I've gotten proof of income. At least 2 months worth of pay stubs to show that they have continued income and they've been employed for a long time, and I do employment verification. The other thing I ask for is a landlord reference, because although my credit report and background check from NTN Online is going to show me if they've ever had an eviction or a foreclosure on their record, I want to make sure that their current landlord is also happy with them and recommends them, because most of the time people are moving because the rent got too high or they need to move out of the area, and if they are paying the rent and being a good tenant, landlords typically don't have an issue saying, you know what, this is a good quality tenant, I'm sorry to see them leave. And that will really help you sleep better at night. Trust me.
As always, I always appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If there are some other resources that you've had success with, that you've used, other background check agencies or online places to list your listings, please share them in the comments down below, because that's the whole point of this Confident Real Estate family, is to share with each other and help each other grow and get more experience and learn from each other's mistakes and successes. If you haven't hit like on this video yet, smash that like button now, and of course hit subscribe if you're not yet part of our Confident Real Estate family. I appreciate you watching to the end. Until next time.